Instead of playing the game of a destructive pendulum, seek out pendulums that benefit you in some way by their game. Acquire the habit of giving your attention to all that is positive and good. As soon as you see, read, or hear something pleasing or encouraging, hold it in your thoughts and let it lift your spirits. Let in the things that are positive, and you will be greeted on your path by ever more good news and fortunate opportunity. Once you have experienced a brief moment of inspiration or joy, it is easy to get pulled back into the stresses of everyday routine. The feeling of elation and gratitude is forgotten, and the working day takes over. To keep the jolly feeling in your life, first and foremost, you have to remember it. Habit makes us jump headfirst back into the monotony of everyday life. The negative pendulums make us forget whatever the good thing was, and we lose a sense of the pleasure it gave us. It's essential to remember that every minute you give to the transurfing practice, you're consciously moving towards your dream, setting the course of your own destiny. This in itself imparts a feeling of calm, confidence, and happiness that helps you stay positive. Once this feeling becomes a habit, you will constantly be riding the crest on the wave of good fortune. Be happy for all that you have in this given moment. Being happy by definition is no empty invocation. Sometimes circumstances do unfold in such a way that it's genuinely difficult to be content, but nonetheless, from a practical point of view, expressing your dissatisfaction is highly disadvantageous. You want to get to the lifelines that inspire you, but you cannot make that shift if your energy field is filled with a vibration of dissatisfaction. Good lifelines differ in that the circumstances you encounter fill your thoughts with happiness and contentment. Good news is easily forgotten because it doesn't demand our attention, while bad news grabs us with its potential threat. To keep bad news out of your life, don't let it into your heart. Instead, focus on the good news. Celebrate and appreciate even small positive changes. They signal the wave of fortune. When you hear encouraging news, don't dismiss it. Reflect on it, enjoy it, and expect more good things to come. By doing this, your thoughts align with the frequency of good fortune, attracting more positivity in your life. Reality reflects your focus. Pessimists see darkness, and optimists find light. Either way, you shift to different lifelines according to the quality of your thoughts. You are the one who decides what type of life you want to live based on your attention and focus. When you're aligned with yourself and your environment, you radiate harmonious energy, creating a positive space where things naturally go well. A positive attitude fosters success and creativity, while negativity disrupts and destroys. Most people react negatively to events that don't align with their expectations. Anything that deviates from their script is seen as undesirable. However, what seems like a setback could actually be hidden success. A very stark and extreme example of this is like missing a flight that later crashes. Similarly, people often miss great opportunities simply because it doesn't match their plans, expectations, or the script that they had written in their minds. This is a very important concept that we'll speak to a lot more when we discuss the alternatives flow. That said, the principle for this lesson is very simple. Focusing on problems brings more problems. A determination to focus on problems brings them to you in abundance, leaving you free-falling in an endless loop with the situation that's causing you grief. There's a certain category of individual who prefer to look for problems rather than their solution. This type of person is always happy to discuss their difficulties and seek out new obstacles. They struggle to find practical answers because their mindset is programmed to look for challenges. This focus on negativity attracts more real-life problems, keeping them stuck in difficult situations. Criticism and negativity only create more issues, doing harm rather than good. You'll likely notice individuals like this in your life. They aren't inherently good or bad, they are simply caught in the sway of a destructive pendulum and lack the awareness that they're doing this to themselves. The more negative your thoughts about life, the worse your life will become. The more a person worries about failure, the more readily new failures will appear in their life. As the saying goes, as the call, so the echo. A person who chooses this way of being practices the opposite of transurfing on a daily basis. They're sliding down a lifeline that can only lead to their personal hell. Take the exact opposite position. Be joyful in the face of failure and deliberately look for even the slightest blessing. You can always find something. Whenever a seemingly negative situation arises, become aware and say to yourself, advantage, and then look for the silver lining. For example, you lost your job? This might open the door to pursue a career path that aligns more closely with your passions and talents. A relationship ends? This gives you space to focus on self-growth and prepares you to attract a healthier relationship in the future. Have to move to a new city? This could introduce you to new people, ideas, and environments that can enrich your personal and professional growth. If a person is strong, every failure they experience is taken to be a useful lesson, making them tougher and more experienced. Find joy in all parts of your world and you will transform it into paradise. This is, of course, a very unusual way of behaving, but it fits the unusual way of becoming your own genie and making all your wishes come true. Unusual goals, of course, require unusual methods. It is difficult to practice this type of behavior at first because of the old habit of reacting negatively to anything is so deeply entrenched. The most important thing to remember when you suffer a setback is that the setback has been created by a pendulum that is trying to get its hooks in you. Once you remember this fact, you can make a conscious choice. Would you rather vent your negative emotions and give your energy to the pendulum, or gain victory over the pendulum by leaving it without a scrap of your emotional energy? Remember, taking on and transmitting negative energy, you create your own hell, but by accepting and transmitting positive energy, you create your own heaven. Transurfing does not end with learning to ride the wave of good fortune. This is just the first step. As we continue, you'll see that there are many more surprises to be found.